Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more Overwatch. In this series of videos, I'm introducing every single character of the game so that you will have an advantage when you get to play the game likely later this year. Last week Blizzard announced Roadhog and Junkrat. I made two videos about both of them. I will leave this as the very first link right below the like button in the description of this video. However, this time around we're gonna look at McCree, one of my personal favorites. I mean, who doesn't want to be a cowboy with a revolver, right?
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
McCree is one of the damage dealers of Overwatch. He isn't particularly complicated to understand, but this gunslinger is going to be a popular pick just for his straight up damage that he can provide for a team. Jesse McCree was affiliated with Overwatch in the past, but before we look at his story, let's talk about his abilities. First off, on the mouse we got the Peacekeeper. This is the name of his revolver. A standard left mouse button click is going to fire one of the 6 rounds that is available in this weapon. This will be used for picking off enemies at a medium to long range distance. The weapon does reload very rapidly, but since Overwatch is a very fast-paced game as well, you will have to keep the low amount of bullets that are available in mind. However, clicking the right mouse button will quickly fire every shot that is available to burst someone down very rapidly. McCree's shift ability has an 8-second cooldown and is a combat roll. This is a very quick movement ability that will allow McCree to get out of trouble or to tumble around the battlefield a little faster. His E ability is a Flashbang that he can use to stun a target. This will hold them stationary for 1 second, allowing McCree to empty his revolver on a target. This ability has a 10-second cooldown and the throw range of it is relatively small. His ultimate ability is called Deadeye. Deadeye makes it so that McCree can very quickly wipe out the enemy team if activated at the correct time. What happens is that McCree will lock on any target that he can see. Immediately upon activation, a little circle will start going towards those targets. Once this circle turns red, activating the ultimate again with the left mouse button will immediately take out any of these targets. However, this does take a couple of seconds to charge up, and McCree is vulnerable while he is in this Deadeye stage. On top of that, the enemies will also hear a little bit of Western music when you're activating this ability. So you have a few seconds if you're playing against the McCree to immediately switch target and outright kill him. McCree is a straight up fighter in the game. He doesn't dash around the battlefield like for example Tracer does. He just walks into the battle, goes into direct combat and takes out heroes that he can take out. Holding down the right mouse button will make McCree manually pull the hammer of the Peacekeeper and shooting every single round immediately. It will burst fire the weapon, however all of the shots become very inaccurate. In most scenarios you're likely better off with a regular left mouse button click, however sometimes in short range you might want to activate this. The combat roll however is crucial. What it doesn't tell you right away is that the roll also reloads McCree's weapon. You can empty your gun on a target, roll in whatever direction you want and immediately start firing again. This is huge and utilizing this ability properly will separate a decent and a great McCree player. For example, you can be shooting at a target at medium range, however you may not be able to kill them completely. Rolling forward and then immediately recharging the weapon at the same time, and then also following this up with a pull on the hammer and immediately shooting all of the rounds at a target at short range will almost take out any hero. Another important thing to note about the hero is that the Flashbang ability, while it has a long cooldown, it can be used to counter certain channeling abilities. For example, using this Flashbang on a Vara that is using her Barrage ultimate or a Reaper that is using Death Blossom will immediately cancel their ultimates. This allows McCree to be a counter pick against Reaper, but also Vara and potentially any kind of other heroes that will still get released. As long as he saves his Flashbang for the right moment, he can be countering these abilities. That said, since the throwing range of this ability is very short, getting close up to those heroes is going to be difficult. However, this will be something that competitive teams will need to keep in mind. Heroes will need to play around McCree and keep an eye out on his animations to know when this ability is on cooldown. McCree is relatively immobile compared to the other offensive characters in the game. Even Hanzo can climb up on walls, but for example Tracer, she can literally teleport away. On top of that, McCree's health pool is pretty small as well. Playing and moving with the team is therefore very important. He really doesn't have an escape available besides his combat role, which let's face it is not that great at mobility but more useful at dodging shots and quickly reloading the weapon. You're gonna have to walk with the team in order to be very useful on McCree. Jesse McCree was an outlaw and part of his so-called Deadlock gang. They were known for trafficking weapons and hardware in South America. The gang got busted, however, by Overwatch, and McCree was given the choice. Either he would be locked up or he could join Blackwatch, the covert ops division of Overwatch. He obviously decided to join Blackwatch, and over time he has grown to dislike his former self. He wanted to right what he wronged by taking care of the injustice in the world. However, when Overwatch weakened, multiple members of Blackwatch wanted to turn over the organization. McCree didn't want anything to do with this, and he decided to go underground instead. Now, several years later, McCree is a gunslinger for hire. He only takes on jobs that he feels are right, and he is waiting for the next big thing. I hope this video explained everything that you wanted to know about McCree and Overwatch. If you have any further question, feel free to post them down below the like button in the comment section below. If you want to see more Overwatch content, also make sure you hit the subscribe button so you will get a notification when I upload the next one. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Definitely do not forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!